Hey guys, my name is Ryan Central and welcome to Hitscan. In this video I sit down with the main cosmetic devs, the producers Sean and Preeti, to talk about the Champions 2021 skins, as well as some other bits and pieces. Also in this call is Riley Yerk, who is the esports strategist on VCT to do with Valorant. We talk about the new Karambit, all that kind of stuff, and maybe what to expect in the future as well. But before we go any further with the Champions Cosmetics, quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Alienware. I've spoken about a lot when it comes to the Ryzen 5000 series of CPU that's in this laptop that edits, renders, and plays Valorant at a much more convincing level than this PC does that I record from on the daily. What I haven't mentioned though, for Intel fans, if you're looking for the 11th generation of CPU there, you can get it with the M15 R6 laptop. So whether you're Intel or Ryzen, you have options with Alienware. I've also definitely mentioned that this is a 240Hz QHD display. It's beautiful, even just looking at the buy menu is really nice. Hard to really show through camera. But if you want more, 300 to 360Hz display, you can get that on the M15 R6 laptop. 360Hz display on a laptop that's 15 inches. Technology, man. I've mentioned a mechanical keyboard, the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 30 series of graphics card that's in here that runs Valorant on high settings with solid performance, Sea of Thieves, Doom Eternal, all runs really well. But I haven't mentioned that there is a sale on. Of course, Black Friday is later this week. Sorry, all of the prices are in pounds, but I wanted to show you that whether you're looking for a laptop like this, something more expensive, something less expensive if you're on a bit of a budget, there is some really nice sales on there for laptops, desktop PCs, with the Alienware Aurora, which gimme, it looks insane. But also mice and keyboard, whether you're buying for yourself, buying for loved ones, holiday season coming up, of course. So yeah, just have a look. It's in the description and top comment. You never know what you're going to find, so do give it a look in and see what you can get. Thanks for watching this integration. Thanks for Alienware for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to those Champions Cosmetics. How long did this take to do? Because I think there was a lot of discussion about the music video that went out today, been in work since October 2020, I think. How long has the skin line been front and center for you guys doing cosmetics? Because it probably took a while, I can imagine.
Riley, when did Riley approach us? Riley,
it's like February, March.
I don't know.
I think.
Yep, February, March.
Yeah, that was like, hey, we need something, right? But when we actually started working on it, it actually was a pretty quick turnaround, I think.
I don't know. I think it was at least 6 months. It feels like it's been a while.
But yeah, because the concept for the melee happened over the summer, because we had one of our interns do that. Yeah, it's probably about 6 months, which is relatively short considering all the other stuff that we did.
I guess there was less in it, right? Like the Vandal, the melee, the player cards, and the title. Was there a want to do more, or do you think something like this, kind of like the Arcane set, right? You only just want to have like one thing in it that's special, as opposed to just making it like any other bundle, right? So was that part of the charm of just making something that was short and sweet, I suppose?
Yeah, we went with, in talking with Riley and crew, less is more. Everyone
would have expected in any bundle, if it's like a 5-weapon bundle, it's like, okay, what are like the best ones in there? Obviously it's going to be like Phantom or Vandal and the melee. So we're like, okay, we'll just kind of cut to the chase with this one.
Was it tough having to decide between a Vandal and a Phantom then?
It was, yes.
Yeah, we asked Riley, do you want a Vandal or Phantom? And he picked Vandal, so blame him.
We talked internally as a team. We kind of pulled the esports team, and then we ended up going external for it, like just kind of the players and all that. And we were kind of thinking like, what feels the most like esports, I guess, out there, which is kind of tough to quantify in between Phantom and Vandal. But Vandal, the one-shot nature of it from any range, was something we kind of gravitated towards, and just the precision of that was something that felt really core to Champions.
For sure. The fact that all matches as well, like, is insane. I know you guys like your oh shit moments with the skins, and I'm pretty sure the going into the orb to see a massive brimstone is fairly oh shit when it comes to like the standards that you guys have put out. Like, where on earth did that idea come from, and is that the thing that you like about the skin line the most, or is there something else that you really admire?
There's like a bunch of oh shit moments for this one, right?
Yeah, funny enough, that was like the last thing that happened, and it was unplanned. Whereas like the oh shit things were usually a little bit more intentional about. And so I think for us, it was like, you get a kill and you see the Champions logo, like the text kind of glow on the gun, like during a kill, or you get that like the kill that puts you as the MVP, and then the whole gun kind of goes, and you're like, okay, it's not as impactful, but it's like something that like when you get that, you're like, oh my God, like I feel awesome.
They inspect playing the music.
Yeah.
Even just the Karambit animations. This is like our, hey, we tried the Karambit again.
Yeah.
Maybe you like it better this time, everyone.
A real Karambit.
What else was like, oh shit.
I think it was just figuring out like what was our angle on the skin for like, how do we make this feel esports?
Yeah.
Was the oh shit moment for me, was like, how do we make this feel aspirational? It's like a lot of buzzwords out there, but then we kind of land on that concept of like the champion's aura, and like when you're top fragging, right, your weapon glows, which is something that translates from the player to the team watching potentially to the broadcast. And I think just having something that like translates so well to broadcast was just a big kind of unlock for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, even in developing this, it was kind of backwards to how we're used to making skins, because more often than not, it's like we have a blank canvas and it's just, okay, make whatever you want that you feel like fits this. But in this case, esports had a very clear vision for what Champions was going to be. And so we were like, okay, well, we have to do our best to match that. And so like the shape language of the actual like shards, the colors, all that kind of stuff.
Even the muzzle flash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the Spark logo.
The Spark, yeah. So we got all that stuff from esports. We're like, okay, well, we have to like figure out the best way to do this. And so the finisher, since we were talking about that, was like after the video, after we had seen like, I think one cut of the video, we were talking about like, okay, well, we could do similar things with the finisher where we have like the logo kind of like up there. We had to figure out what to do with the character, something maybe sort of like glitch pop where the character just kind of like goes into a pose and, you know, you've got the spinning logo there, or similar to the Spectrum. But while the VFX artist was working on that finisher, he was just watching that video and playing it over and over. And he's just like, I want to try something, like we always say dumb, crazy, or stupid or whatever, but he's like, I want to try something. And so he just threw it together. He's like, take the experience of watching that video with like Brimstone, like holding the world up and everything, and then like try and put that in there. And so he just comes in one day, he's like, all right, here's what we did, or here's what I did. And he's like, oh my God, like we didn't ask you to do that. We had no idea you were going to do that. And this is like now absolutely everything that we have to do.
And initially, like when you went into the finisher, the song was like a more like a deafened version of it. Like I likened it to like if you're at a club and you go to the bathroom, you can still hear the music, but it's like through a bunch of walls. But it wasn't clear when you stepped into it. So we added a delay, so it takes a couple seconds. So you wouldn't just trigger it and be confused with what just happened or whatever. And so there's a transition, and our audio designer added a transition, but it was really scary and spooky. And it was like kind of like I don't know, you felt like you were being like chased by a monster or something like that. So we gave him that feedback. He's like, wait a minute, I can still add a transition, but I'll change the music to a different part of the song, which was really cool. So that's how it kind of like came out to feel very, very different when you're in the world, not just visually, but also through the song.
I feel like there's a lot of good like throwbacks from previous skins as well. Like the initial Champions logo coming up is very like the Zed skin, and also the music playing from it as well, which is funny because thinking back to Masters, of course, you have the big AR thing. So it must have been cool for you guys to see, like, I'm sure Zed loved it as well. Like every time it would be a Zed finisher, then cut to the studio with this big AR kill finisher. I imagine that's probably going to be the same, like speculating for Champions. I don't know if you'd have a massive augmented reality Brimstone holding up a globe. I think that'd just be terrifying. But the fact that you've got like a good mix of stuff that you've obviously done in the past, even like skins like the Karambit, like you mentioned, but also like it's almost like a proof of concept with the stepping into something and then seeing something else with the kill finisher. So I guess that's quite nice for you guys to sort of mix some stuff that you're comfortable with and done before, but also getting to try out some new stuff that you could maybe do again in the future in a different direction.
Yeah, we were just talking about it this morning, actually, of like, what things have we done in the past that have been like remotely similar to this? Like, do we actually, because that was the intent, like we wanted to build up off of, I think it was a Glitch Pop and the Zed skin to make this one. But then all that custom stuff that ended up happening was just unplanned. And so we're like, okay, what can we pull from what we've done in the past? I think there's like, just from a technical setup, there was like a lot with like the music that we talked about with Zed skin and some of the other more technical aspects of things we've done, even with Singularity, had some parallels here. And so we were talking about is like, we're in kind of uncharted territory, but at the same time, we're not, because we've done things like this before, but never exactly like it. But then next time we can use stuff like this to make more finishers, even bigger and better. I think that's like the one area we keep pushing more than anything else on the skins, what we do with finishers.
And the rev share component is just about giving back to the teams that have all invested into our game so heavily over the year. So for this, it'll be equally shared among all 16 teams at Champions, which is, people may expect it to be like winner heavy or something like that, but we want it to really share equally here and let the prize pool kind of do with the hierarchy and distribution.
I guess that's the main reason of doing it that way instead of a like Valve Dota International way of getting a bundle and then the money that people pay for goes into the prize pool. I guess that's just, also like proof of concept for the future, depending on which direction the esports scene goes, right? Involving the teams in some of the business aspects of it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to make like an ecosystem that like everyone can win in eventually. So I think that's kind of like some of the tactics you'll see here are kind of in service of that end goal.
Yeah, I know people will ask for like specific teams to have skins, but what if your team doesn't get one? How would you feel, right? So this way it's like celebrating like the championship overall instead of a specific team.
Do you think there's a temptation to do stuff like when a team wins, like in the Overwatch League, for example, there's usually a skin for a hero. Used to be for MVPs, but that's changed. It's mostly just down to like the San Francisco Shock getting a skin on a character that they play a lot. Is there a temptation to want to do that in the future? Let's say, for example, Sentinels wins Champions. Would that open the door, do you think, for having a Sentinels-esque skin in the future? Or is it similar to what you said before, that you want to share it out equally to the 16 teams, not necessarily the one that wins it all in the end?
Yeah, I think like right now we're taking learnings from League of Legends and saying that we want to really be careful about how we rev share with teams, and we want that to be really equal because we're not franchised, we're not like a closed off ecosystem yet. It's so open right now, and all these teams are kind of having to monetize on their own, that we wanted to give a way to share it equally among the 16 teams that qualified for our biggest tournament of the year. I think in the future we'll evolve what that looks like. What that actually is and whether we have team skins is always on the table as an option, but I don't think we have any immediate plans for that kind of thing yet.
Yeah, and from a development perspective, right, like one of the things that we talked about with that is like, we can't predict who's going to win, right? So like, we have to wait until that moment to then start working. And then it's like, when timeliness wise, right? Like, when would you actually release something like that? Because again, for us taking months at times to make things, how soon after the event is over can you actually get something out there to celebrate? The alternative to that is just make 16 gun skins and throw away 15 of them. Which is obviously not ideal.
I just thought of something you guys can help us with, like when players are asking about the skin. I think it's like the features are, as we mentioned earlier, like why did we pick the features we did? And it's all in service of it being this aspirational skin that's about like top tier performance. So that's why it has the very specific ones. So yeah, help when people are wondering like why these features. It's very much in the spirit of esports and about like top fragging. The top frag effect is called Champions Aura, that activates at the top level of the Karambit and the Vandal. We put it there for a reason because we didn't. It's a weird feature, right? Because you have to be the top fragger in the match. So not just on your team, right? Obviously, if your team is going 1-13 and you've got like 5 kills, I don't know that you're gonna feel too great having this like glow. And it's like, well, we're being shit on. I'm glad I have like a couple of kills that I got like camping in a corner. So top fragger in the game, no ties, right? So you have to be somebody who's at the very top, 24 kills or whatever it may be. But it feels weird to add a feature to a skin that like you may not experience most of the time, right? And that's not to be BM. I don't say that as like, oh, you suck, why would you get this level? But it's a reality, right? Like if we're getting match-made games here, you're not gonna experience this all the time. So we made a very deliberate decision to put that feature at the top level. Normally you'll see the finisher at the very top, but we put the finisher actually one level below that because in our mind, not everyone's gonna wanna spend rating night points to level up to something that they're like, I'm not gonna see this all the time, or I don't know that I really care about this, or I don't even like this feature. So we decided that the finisher actually comes before it. But you'll notice so many things are tied getting kills, right? It's the on-kill effect. The finisher is getting kills, right? The top frag effect is getting lots, or Champion's Aura is getting lots of kills. So they're all kind of thematically related. And I know we'll get the question of like, why aren't there variants? And that's because we're going off of the brand of Champions, right? Adding variants wouldn't really make sense.
I guess it must be busy for you guys as well, because I imagine this is another case where you have Mage Punk still in the store, and then this, and then obviously a couple of weeks ago now you had the Radiant Crisis and also the Arcane skins in the store. So not only are you busy making skins every 2 weeks, now you've got 2 sets of skins sometimes. I bet that's been super busy for you guys, having to do that many cosmetics that now kind of overlap with each other.
Oh yeah.
You know, what's funny though is we actually asked for that. Like, we wanted for a while, like, the ability to have like double feature or things like that, without knowing how much work it was going to be.
Yeah. The timing just worked out for this, right?
Yeah.
We had Arcane, but we didn't know how much it would be relevant to Valorant players, so we didn't want to just put Arcane in the store and then like a bunch of people are like, what is this? And then for Champions and Mage Punk, it's just the timing for Champions. We wanted to make sure that we had it for the event itself. So we worked with Riley here to figure out timing. But it is a lot, yes. The team is busy. Other stuff was interesting with this one. Even the reticle, when you ADS on the Vandal, it has some like shape language related to Champions. There's a lot of really subtle stuff that I think brings this together and feels very much like an esports skin.
And it's like so symbolic of the base Vandal skin too, with like the reload doesn't have that kind of crazy VFX that some do. That like, I think that's kind of esports in a nutshell too, right? Is like, it's the core game on steroids pretty much. I think that's kind of what this Vandal is. It's like all the bells and whistles added to it, but still very symbolic of that core.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, I feel like our interpretation of the esports brand, or even it's like just the Valorant brand on crack. And it's still very simplistic, minimalistic, very clean. So yeah, the skin, like players might be like, wait, why isn't there like more features like another gun skin would have? But we didn't think those features would fit. We tried to really stick with the narrative of like being ambitious and aspirational, competitive. If you want to talk about the Art of Greatness, Riley, this is a great place to mention it. But the theme of the Art of Greatness, which is like esports' mantra, right, for this Champions.
Yeah, for sure. So that you'll see that it's like come to life music video. You'll see it come to life in more content rolling out in the days to come. It's kind of all about like what we feel makes Valorant different, especially as an esport, is like there's an art form of how you play an agent. You're not just executing a round with a strat that you've done 100 times. Like there's a little bit of art form and finesse to that mid round where you're like making split-second decisions that can kind of evolve it. So it's a little bit of it. And then you'll see that like other parts of the collection of the capsule are symbolic of music video too. So not just the finisher, but the cards and stuff like that. So it's kind of all tied to that general cohesive vision.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. If you went 0-20, right, you didn't get a single kill, the skin wouldn't do much for you, would it?
No, because it's all based off of like, yeah, when I get a kill, see things happen, finisher, all that.
Yeah. I mean, all you have is a muzzle flash. There's no custom audio. Reloading and equipping doesn't do anything.
Music. Get music.
Yeah, you can inspect. That's true. You can just run around and get shot.
That's probably why you're 0-20, isn't it, really? You're just blasting the music out. It's not that loud, to be fair, so that at least there's... Like, that must have been a challenge.
But like with the Zed skin, like I will run, he's like making fun of me because I will run around corners, like inspecting my guns or my melee and just get shot because I'm not paying attention. It has nothing to do with like the music. It's just me not paying attention. But yeah, you don't get much if you aren't. So it's a very much like you buy the skin because you're great.
Or because you want to be great.
Yeah, you think you're great or want to be great. It's a very bold choice to equip this over one of your skins that gives you immediate pleasure just by equipping and whatnot. So I think that's kind of it. Like, yeah, it's a very aspirational choice to like put into your Vandal slot.
I also like that the melee also loops with the inspect. Which
Yeah.
Another nice thing to add on that as well, considering what the Rune Karambit is very vanilla in its inspection. I think this was before you started experimenting and like Origin, for example, and just going to town on some crazier stuff, right? So
yeah, I think Origin was our first looping one. The butterfly knife doesn't loop, right?
No.
Yeah, it just ends in the.
This one also doesn't infinitely loop. I watched it. It's pretty long, but it eventually does stop.
Same with Origin. We cut it off after like 45, 50 seconds,
Yeah.
just because I don't know. No one should really be inspecting for that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with this one, it was, you mentioned Ruin, right? Like we've had Ruin, we've had Prime 2, like we've done like attempts at a Karambit, and none of them have ever really been, I guess, like true to what players expect. And so hopefully this one kind of meets that expectation.
Yeah, it's a completely new set. Everything, quick swipes, right click, swipe, inspect. Yeah,
it's
brand new.
Like with the finisher.
Even the pose, right?
Yeah, with the finishers, we were talking about like, can we build one to the next, right? And I think I always love pointing out the fact that like the Ruin we just got lucky with, because we didn't intend for that to be a Karambit, but players looked at it as such. Because it's the same animations as Dragon or Glitch Pop 1, but because of the curved blade and that right click, everyone's like, oh, it's great, you know. So for Prime, we're like, okay, let's maybe take that same set like the Dragon or the Glitch Pop and then modify it a little bit to like have it loop on the finger. But then I think it was just still a little too close to what it was. Players didn't really like the equip either. So this one we're just like clean slate, start over. What would you do if you didn't have anything? And then we got this. So I think it worked out really well.
Yeah, so do you know how you just done about the animation, how it's completely unique to that knife? It might be a bit hard to say, but is that going to essentially just be for this knife only, or will future Karambits, for example, follow the same route?
Don't know. We don't have another Karambit in development yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what people say about it too, because when we made the Prime Karambit, we thought we were like geniuses. We're like, everyone's gonna love this. And then lots of people didn't like it. Lots of people did, actually. I mean, you'll just hear from the people who complain about it a lot, but actually was liked by some people, a good number. But we'll see. We'll see which one turns out to be more popular.
But to that point, though, like a challenge that we've had with melees, right, when we upgrade them, is use, for example, the butterfly knife. The reason the butterfly knife was an upgrade is because if you had a level 1 version of that, like you've already got the thing, like you don't necessarily have like a fantasy to level up into, which is usually what that second level is. And so we're like, okay, we can take that tactical, like the base default knife, level that up into a butterfly. That makes sense. For this one, we had the opposite of that challenge, because we're like, okay, give you the full fantasy on level 1, but then what does level 2 give you? That's significant, which is why we added the looping inspect with the music and that kind of thing. But that's the next challenge for us, is if we were to make another Karambit, what is a leveled up experience of a Karambit? And that's something we just like haven't begun to tackle yet. So we're creating problems for ourselves, but fun, interesting problems to solve.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Definitely give your feedback to the devs through Reddit, Twitter, even in the comments below if you want to see more things in the future with some of the topics that they spoke about. Also, again, shout out to Alienware for sponsoring this video. Their Black Friday sale is ongoing, so go have a look, see what you can get. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.